In your mind, what makes a footballing legend? For some people, it's about staying loyal to one club. For others, it's lifting trophies, lifting the World Cup and lifting the Champions League. Zlatan Ibrahimovic chose a different path. Over 500 career goals, trophies all across the world, and moments that left us in awe. Yet there's a fascinating pattern in his career that very few people talk about. Every team he left seemed to find Champions League success after his departure. Honestly, it's one of football's strangest coincidences. And it reveals something that separates great careers, amazing careers, to the truly exceptional ones. Because this is the story of extraordinary talent, bold choices, and the fine line between individual brilliance and team immortality. I mean, if we take a step back, Zlatan's career looks like a crazy European tour. Ajax, Juventus, Inter, Barcelona, AC Milan, PSG, Manchester United, LA Galaxy, back to AC Milan where he retired. This is a tour that no other person has done in their career. At every single club he showed up, he dominated, and he left with some drama. Because while players like Totti, Gerrard, Messi, Rooney, they all became legends at one club and we associate them over there. But Zlatan actually belongs to football itself. His career wasn't about deep connection to fans, but about amazing moments that everyone really remembers. But in a way, moving around so much stopped him from becoming the foundation of a dynasty, similar to what Karim Benzema did at Real Madrid. And it limited his chance to build that kind of legacy that puts players in football's highest ranks. But Zlatan's constant movement was just the first piece of the puzzle. What's even more shocking is what happened at these clubs after he packed his bags. A pattern so strange that it would be called to and referred to as the Zlatan curse. I mean, from a numbers point of view, Zlatan's career is amazing. 500 goals in 800 games, 62 goals for Sweden, over 300 goals after turning 30. He scored his 500th goal with a spinning kick. He scored goals across 4 decades. He's won league titles in the Netherlands, Italy, Spain, France. And the best part about Zlatan is his goals came in every potential way. Headers, volleys, amazing strikes, overhead kicks, memorable moments. Zlatan is the most complete finisher that we've seen in this past generation. But despite all of this, it's like Zlatan's talent should have led to even more. When you have the size of an NBA power forward, but the skill of a playmaker, you should just achieve more than winning domestic titles. These incredible stats make what's missing from his trophy cabinet even more baffling, and expose the curse that followed him throughout his career, leaving a Champions League sized hole in his legacy. Because here's the thing, Zlatan's trophy cabinet is impressive, but it has one major problem. 14 league titles, although 2 were taken away from Juventus, 11 domestic cups across 4 countries, lots of individual awards, a ton of top scorer awards across Italy, France and America, but that major elusive trophy is missing, the UEFA Champions League. I mean, this pattern, it's really weird. So let me try and explain to you this Zlatan curse that everyone speaks about. The first curse was that Ajax reached the Champions League quarterfinals the season after he left. Number 2, Inter won the treble the season after he departed. Number 3, Barcelona won the Champions League before his arrival and after his departure. Number 4, PSG reached their first Champions League final after he left. Inter, Barcelona, PSG, they all found the formula after he left. Is that a coincidence? It happened way more times than we can even ignore. This weird relationship with Europe's biggest club competition actually raises a really big question. How can a player who dominated so many league seasons never reach the absolute zenith of club football? For me and a lot of other people, the Champions League gap in his trophy cabinet is the biggest proof of his wasted potential. It's not just that he's never won, and that happened to the likes of Ronaldo. It's that teams seem to find the formula for European success every time after his departure. But this Zlatan curse, I don't really think it's just bad luck. Because there's a specific reason why these teams performed better in Europe after when he left. And it reveals such a problem with building a team around someone so talented. At 6'5" with the skills of a much smaller player, Zlatan was a unique challenge for his coaches. A former coach said that with Zlatan, you don't just get a goal scorer, you get a playmaker, a target man, and a focal point all in one. But you also get a system. The team has to play through him. So you can see the good and bad of Zlatan in the way that he's spoken about. I mean, on the good side, the teams built their attacks around around him. His size created space for his teammates, his touch allowed his teammates to run in behind, and Zlatan was always at the end of these chances. And his confidence, his ego, it lifted the team with him. But on the other side, teams kind of relied a lot on him. He didn't really help defensively, and his big personality could have rubbed teammates the wrong way. So with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, you fall and rise by his sword. When he has a good game, everyone else has a good game. When he has a bad game, you have to kind of lift him up, and unfortunately, because he is the entire attacking system, when he's bad, the whole team don't really look in top form. So in the league campaigns where his teams were often better than the opposition, these trade-offs, they didn't really matter as much. But in the Champions League against the best European teams, this tactical inflexibility was a fatal flaw of all of the teams that he played for. Let's take a look at specific Champions League failures where the Zlatan curse was evident. Inter, the 2008-9 Champions League round of 16 against Manchester United, they crash out with Zlatan Ibrahimovic as the focal point of the team. The very next season, without Zlatan, they win the treble with a more balanced counter-attacking system. Barcelona, the 2009-10 Champions League semi-final. Zlatan failed to score in both legs and Barcelona were dumped out of the competition by his former club. That same Barcelona team won the Champions League the year before, and they won it the year after with Messi playing as the false nine. PSG's 2016 Champions League quarter-final against Manchester City. Zlatan missed a crucial penalty and PSG's attack looked disjointed and predictable. Within a few years of his departure, PSG finally reached their first ever Champions League final. And we can kind of say the Barcelona experiment shows this perfectly. After scoring 22 goals in his first season, he was considered a bad fit for Guardiola's system, which worked better with Messi as the false nine rather than using a traditional number 9, a traditional centre forward like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And that exit from Barcelona was the greatest sign of that wasted potential. So when we look at it, is it a case of ego? Is it a case of adaptation? Well, let's look at other strikers across Europe. Karim Benzema put his ego aside for years to support Cristiano Ronaldo at Real Madrid. But even when Cristiano Ronaldo left, the way that Karim Benzema plays is as a facilitator. He brings everyone into the team, so when he rises, the entire team goes up with him, hence the former Vinicius Jr. elevating in that 21-22 Champions League season. We could talk about Lewandowski, who's another late bloomer like Zlatan. He adapted his game to become a Champions League winner and a Ballon d'Or contender. I mean, he should have won the Ballon d'Or in 2020. Even Haaland has won a Champions League despite being far younger than Zlatan. So is it fair to say that Zlatan's unwillingness to make similar sacrifices is maybe one of the biggest what-ifs in modern football? Because for me, at key points in his career, Zlatan made choices that prioritized immediate success and personal comfort over legacy-defining career achievements. Now, who am I to say anything? I'm just a person making a YouTube video. Zlatan is probably one of the best strikers of this generation, and he is one of the best footballers I have had the privilege of watching. But it kind of shows you something important about careers. Technical brilliance and individual stats only tell part of the story. The greatest players make their team better than the sum of their parts. Zlatan's incredible talent, all of his physical gifts and technical skills should have produced more than all of those domestic trophies. He should have left with 1, 2, 3, maybe even 5 Champions League trophies. So for me, his failure to win the Champions League, adapt his game when needed, and make sacrifices for the team to perform well, kind of showcases the wasted potential that I refer to right at the start of this video. And once again, this isn't to take away what he's done in his career. Once again, this is probably one of the best strikers in the last 20-25 years. But for me, was he a true great? That's a harder question to answer. Because when it comes to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, he's had an amazing career, defined by spectacular moments, impressive stats, and the lingering question of what might have been with him.